for Chat with Chuck, live from Windsor, California, discussing stuff on Chuck's mind, life, attitudes, and stuff. And now, your host, Chuck the DJ.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Black Sheep Kajira, the wife's in the house. Tang Fever, Rays, Flaves, how you doing? Beefer, how you doing? And I saw Alice was in here earlier, and of course, Modstar Tina Baby was here. I am going to be honest with everybody right now that I am a tad off today. I am not feeling perfect. I had a COVID shot yesterday, and as things seem to happen with the COVID shots, they whacked me out the next day. That was Greg's voice. Yes, it was. Greg is the official voice of the Chat with Chuck show. So I appreciate that. Greg is actually on a raid train right now. I think he is live, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, yeah, that is Greg's voice. Nice that you noticed that name. That's a really weird name for a drink. Rays Flaves. Yeah, you'll be hearing Greg's voice off and on throughout the day because he does most of my intros for my segments, of which I have a few that we're going to be going through today. But as I started to say, I am a tad off today. I had a COVID shot yesterday, and my wife and I, Black Sheep Kajira, have been very fortunate that during the whole COVID experience that started in 2020, we have not been sick. We have not got the COVID, and I think maybe because we have the shots. I'm not sure. I know some people are against the shots. Some people don't think they're necessary. We've been lucky, so I would go with it. I don't know if you in the chat have had your COVID shots or your flu shots. Last year, I had the COVID and the flu shot, both the same day, the same time, and it completely whacked me out. I had to take off the day at work. I was in bed. It just completely threw me off. The combination of the two. I have a normalized being a tad off, so you're always a tad off. That's okay, Tang. We appreciate that. And for those of you that are listening in the chat, I do want to remind you that this is Chat with Chuck. So please feel free in the chat if you have a question or you want to comment on something. Don't just sit there and hang out. Involve yourself. Bring it in. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're saying. I hope to get better at this. I did start a YouTube page. If you go on YouTube and you look for Chat with Chuck, the DJCA, the YouTube page comes up, and I am loading these episodes onto YouTube. I was told I'm learning. I'm learning as I go along. The mistake I made on the first two is I could have edited out that whole beginning part where the countdown is before I start the show. So if you happen to go to the YouTube page to watch the shows or listen to the shows as you're driving down the road, you don't really need to watch them. You can listen to them. You can fast forward the first 5 or 10 minutes, whatever the countdown is, to the start of the show. You don't have to pay attention to the songs. Of course, you're welcome to. You're welcome to if you like. The other thing going on today is my interviewer. I had a gentleman lined up, a friend, a DJ friend, that was going to come into the studio live, and I was going to interview him, but he could not make it. He might have heard that I was feeling off, so he didn't want to come in and subject himself to me. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to interview myself, and that will be coming up in a little bit. I had some questions that I was going to ask my interviewee, and I'm not going to tell you who it was because I hope to have him on soon. But I have some questions that I was going to ask him, and I will ask myself. And I know some of you will say, "Oh, Chuck the Humble DJ," and yeah, I'm going to interview myself today. So that will be coming up in a few minutes. Also, we're going to do our our This Day in Music segment. We're going to do our What the Fuck with Chuck segment. We're going to do our Story Time segment, and stuff like that. So that'll be fun. But let's talk about Twitch. Now, on the first episode, I brought up Twitch, and I kind of went off on a tangent. He didn't want to get grilled by the modern day Mike Wallace unveiled. I kind of went off on a tangent on the first episode, and it was probably meaner than I actually meant for it to come back or to come out of me. I had got a little couple comments from a few individuals who were like, "Whoa, that was mean. That was hard. That was you should have started off something a little bit nicer." So I just want to talk about Twitch a little bit. I don't know in here. I don't know if there's actually any streamers that are actually watching the show right now. Let me look at the chat here. We have. It doesn't look like we have any actual streamers in the chat, so that might not work. But one of the things I want. Here we go. Atina baby, Modstar. No, this is not a rant time. This is just an observation time. Oh, that's right, Beefrick, you used to. Well, one of the things that, when this started, 4 years ago, COVID got shut down, and we were all just, we found Twitch, and it was a big party, and personally, Fireball was my drink of choice, and there was just a just a crap load of drinking, and we got crazy, and we would, one night I did my naked stream. I was so blitzed, didn't have any clothes on, and there seems to be a lot of drinking on Twitch. Do you all see that? Is that something that you all kind of see? I know a lot of the streamers that I watch, they'll do, hey, if you get me to level 5 on the hype train, we'll take a shot of this or that, or let's party. Yeah, it happens. Tina Baby says it does happen, and it's all fun. You drank a lot on Twitch. Beeford, yeah, and it's fine, Do you drink that much normally? Like, is that a hey, on Saturday I'm gonna get blitzed? Because when I was drinking Fireball, I was drinking a lot of Fireball during the show, and I think it could tell. I think you could tell. Not anymore. Good, Beeford. And I've got nothing against it. If you want to drink on your streams, that's fine. I'm not ranting. I'm not going off on anything. No. It's cool. Go for it. Lockdown was hard on me, Beeford says, and it was hard on a lot of us, especially those in the event business. Your DJs, your bands, your photographers, your caterers, your florists, your coordinators, your planners. Especially those of us, and I include myself on this, that are full-time, as this is the only thing that we do for a living. And all of a sudden, COVID kicked in, 2020, I think it was, and bang, it shut down. And so all of us in the entertainment field or the event field, all of a sudden we were lost. We didn't know what to do. And then Twitch came in. Mixcloud came in first. So I didn't hang long on Mixcloud, but Twitch came on, and all of a sudden you were like, hey, look, I can make some money, and I can play some music, and I can have fun, and that was great. And I can drink, because normally at events, most of us don't drink at events. Maybe if you're a club DJ and people are bringing you a drink. I know that when I worked in a club for 9 months, I was a house DJ 3 nights a week in a club in Roanoke Park. Kamikazes. That was my drink. But as far as corporate events or weddings, which is what I'm mainly doing now. DJ Rick B, how you doing? Welcome in from Sacramento. First time on channel on Twitch. Well, welcome in. Welcome to Chat with Chuck. I don't rant. I talk for about an hour. We got some segments that we're going to do. I hope now from Sacramento. Are you a DJ in Sacramento? Do you know any of the Sacramento cats? I know some older Sacramento DJs. Randy Bartlett and is a good friend of mine, but he's retired now. But he was a biggie over in the Sacramento area. Ron Davis, he's actually up in Folsom. I play a lot of golf with him, but he's another DJ, band DJ. He likes to play his horns. He likes to play his horns and DJ at the same time. Quite a talented individual. Oh, well, For those of you that are watching this and not reading the chat, Rick B was the president of the ADJ chapter. We have met, and Rick, I am so sorry. As some people will tell you that are in the chat, I have zero memory. But I do want to say that the ADJ Sacramento chapter, when my wife, I don't know, how long ago was it, sweetie? 5-6 years ago, when my wife went into the hospital, and she was in the hospital, I think it was 22, 27, 25 days, something like that. The ADJ chapter in Sacramento, and for those who don't know, that's American Disc Jockey Association, sent me this wonderful care package. I know, Rick, I'm not sure. You've been a DJ for 49 years. I'm not sure if you were involved with ADJ back then. I apologize. Again, memory. But you guys sent me just a wonderful package full of snacks and Pop-Tarts and candies and all that kind of stuff I wasn't supposed to eat. But you knew that, I needed something, and that was so nice to me, and it really touched my heart to think that you guys would take care of that. And yeah, from the beginning of the Sacramento chapter. So yeah, so you know all those guys. I did appreciate that. That meant a lot to me. So for those of you that are out there, thank you so much. But the drinking on Twitch, if you're a DJ, I mean, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Kajir remembers that was very cool, wasn't it? The drinking, there's nothing wrong with it. It was more of an observation. It wasn't a rant. I wasn't going to go down. I'm not mad or down on anybody. I kind of miss it, to tell you the truth. Drinking while you're playing, especially on Twitch. You can have a few drinks. You can loosen up a little bit. You can get silly. You can kind of mouth off. You can just have fun. Like I say, Fireball was my choice. DJ Head, Fireball was his choice in his floaty straw. But yeah, so that was just, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about, and apparently nobody in the chat has anything to say about drinking on Twitch other than Beaver. So we're gonna let that one go. We're not gonna go any farther on that one. I think we should move on to. Doesn't have a drink. Oh well, yeah. Ryan, my Pookie, DJ Ryan 22. Yeah, Apple Crown was his drink, and yeah, I think we all at some point in time had a drink redemption. Yeah, there was that. Kajira says there was a lot more drinking before, and I think we did. And we all have the command for cheers. Here, I'll even put it in the chat here. So when we were drinking, we could, hey, cheers, and it was just something fun to do. I think now that, and a lot of the DJs now that are still on Twitch that are serious, they're not drinking because they're more serious and they're trying to get partner and they're trying to make a bunch of money and they're trying to be, I was going to say professional, but that, but a little more, there's a little more decorum maybe would be the way to go with that. So drinking on Twitch, yeah, when the lockdown was loosened, we all had to go back to being adults who leave the house. Yeah, it was so funny when the lockdown did kind of end and we could go back out on the road. Everybody thought Twitch would end. A lot of people thought, oh well, that's it. People are going to go back to their lives, and they don't need the music anymore, that kind of stuff. But they do. I mean, it's still very popular. Twitch is still. I mean, obviously, Twitch is a gamer platform. We DJs are such a small piece of Twitch. It's not even almost doesn't even work in the radar. I saw somebody post the other day that maybe Twitch should do some advertising to let the world know that Twitch is here and DJs are here and come on and bring it. They don't need to. They've got their audience. They got their gamers. They know. People know. We as DJs, of course, we like a little something, but they do on Amazon Prime. Okay. So anyway, so that's my discussion on Twitch, and unless somebody else wants to bring something up, you can. If not, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to our next segment, which is what I like to call story time.
What was Chuck the DJ doing in 1985, 2020, 1969, You pick the year. Chuck tells the story. I'm Greg Murray. Get ready for Story Time with Chuck the DJ.
Okay, so story time. So those of you that have been here a couple times, you know kind of how this works. And this is, I don't know. I was going to say this is ego time. It's not really ego time. But if you have a year, that you'd like to know what Chuck the DJ was doing at a certain year, just put it in the chat, and I'll pick one. 80, the year 80. Was anybody around? KGB. Okay, let me define my perimeters on that. How about I was born in 1956. So how about from like 65? Rick, you started DJing in 76. The 1976 was a good year. That was the year of my the end of my first marriage. You want to talk about 76? Okay, let's talk about what was I doing in 1976. KGB wants to know what I was doing in 1969. Oh, Jesus. That's my age now. So 1976. Yeah, I graduated from high school in 1974. And those of you that have been with me, you know my very first DJ gig was in 1969. So I was DJing through high school. And when I got out of high school, I got married shortly thereafter. I got married in late 74, and the marriage didn't last very long, almost 2 years. And by 1976, she had moved on, I had moved on. But there was always DJing. And I think in 1976, mainly what I was doing was I worked at a gas station. I was in a car wash. I worked at a car wash gas station. And on the side, I was DJing school dances, mainly junior high school dances. You DJed in the Womb in '69, because back in '76, that's kind of right in a zone where they were still getting mainly bands. I think, what was it? You guys maybe can quote me on this or correct me on this, but I think like 1978, '79 was like disco's big year. So '76 was right in that zone of most schools or people, weddings or whatever, they were having bands, and they would hire a DJ if they couldn't afford a band. And here I came. I was all over it. And we had a record store in Petaluma where I grew up. It's called Harmony Music, and they used to rent me the 45s, 10 cents. I could go down and I could rent 45s for 10 cents. I didn't even have to buy them. And I would take them home. I'd record them. I'd put them on tape, and I would use them at gigs. Probably most of my events back then was all tapes, all either reel to reel or cassette, depending upon the year. So 1969, first gig. By 70, where are we at here? 76, I was still DJing. It was fun. That was we'd get 4 or 5 guys together, and this guy would bring a speaker and this guy would bring a light. We had a big light show, very 60s style. Because you even worked way back early with me on the light show days, where we would have the overhead projectors with the liquids, the liquid stuff in the overhead projectors, and it was very 60s kind of light show. And so it was fun. I mean, that was. People really enjoyed the DJs back then, and they almost didn't even care about the music that you played, as long as it was fun, upbeat. There was no people shoving their phones in your face. Play this, play that. You could get away with playing, rock. I think is probably mainly what we played, because I didn't really like disco back then. When disco really kind of kicked in, I didn't want to do disco. I didn't want to play disco. I was a rocker. I didn't want to play disco stuff. But my first agent, a guy named Bob Manthe from Blackheart Booking Agency, said, "You know what? If you change your name." The company's name was Spectrum Mobile DJ. If you change your name to Spectrum Disco, I can book you some events. And so we did. 78, 79, we changed over to Spectrum Disco, and we got a few gigs, but it wasn't as much fun for us because we didn't enjoy the music as much. And that's kind of what we're all doing on Twitch now. is you're playing music. The DJs are playing music, hopefully, of stuff that you like. That's kind of the point, because a lot of us aren't making a living at this. I mean, I know some are, but a lot of us are. I think probably most DJs are not making a living on Twitch. And you gotta, exactly, KGB. You gotta enjoy what you are playing, and you do. And there is a balance there, just like if you're a club guy or a wedding guy or a corporate guy, there is that balance, because you want to enjoy. You want to enjoy we're lucky. We get to go to parties for a living. We push play for a living, and we bring a vibe. And if we're enjoying what we play, it's for our soul, and people feel that. If the crowd is out there and they're dancing and they're looking at the DJ, and you're just sitting there going, yeah, whatever, yeah, here, push play, that vibe is going to carry over to the crowd. But if you're up there and you're kind of bopping around, and you're having a good time, you're smiling, and maybe you're not necessarily dancing, but you're just moving and having a good time. The crowd's going to see that, and that's going to feed off the crowd, and that's going to make them have a better time, and that's going to make those people that hired you look at the crowd and go, "Oh my God, that's great." Let's hire them again. And if you're a full-time DJ such as myself, you live on referrals. You don't want to piss people off. When I lived on Maui and I was DJing, I had to mainly keep the venues happy, because the people, Betty and Bob coming over to Maui to get married, they didn't, of course you want to keep them happy. It's their day, and but chances are their friends and family there, they're not going to come back to Maui for a party, So if it came down to a time where, in fact, the biggest thing on Maui was most venues had a 10 o'clock hard end time. You're like 10 o'clock, bang, you stop. They don't care. 10 o'clock, you stop. And of course, if you got a crowd and you're pumping and you're jumping and everybody's having a good time, yeah, as KGB says, yep, you got to play to the crowd too. Balance is the key. And all of a sudden, it's 10 o'clock and the crowd's like, one more. But you really have to keep the venue happy, because on Maui, it was the venue that would hire me, or they would take care, with the agents. Yeah. Here today, gone tomorrow, destination wedding. Now, the area that I'm in now is the same way. The wine country, Napa Valley, Sonoma Valley, the wine country. We hit destination weddings. Corporates come up here for their events, and it's a lot of it is the same way. It's destination weddings. Destination events are a whole different animal than just those of you that maybe you're a DJ in your hometown and you're doing Betty and Bob's wedding and Shirley and Jack's and Chuck and Cheryl's. You're doing their weddings, and you're trying to build up that, at home, you're trying to build up that referral network. A little different when you live in a destination area. Destination area, also, you work more than just the weekends. There are times where I don't work any Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I've got, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, or something like that. I average 5 events a month as for my full DJ time. This month kind of blows. I got 1 event this month, so we're kind of like going but things come along. So yeah, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. I'm feeling the heat. I'm feeling the heat on my forehead. I'm not really sure how that's going to go. Like I say, I started the day a little tad off, but I think we're if we all breathe and we all relax, we're all having a good time. That's what's important. Being a full-time DJ, we are so lucky. I call it riding the wave, and I've been riding some of you know this already. I went full-time in 1985. We've been riding the wave ever since. So my wife and I have been very fortunate. She started her belly dance career, and she was flying around the world. She was teaching her belly dance, and I was staying, and I was push and play at events. We've been very fortunate. So there we go. So that was story time with Chuck. That was the year. I've already forgot what year it was. 1976. Kind of a fun year. I think in 76. I think my main jobs were I worked in a gas station car wash. I sold cars for a while. I think I might have even worked for a maintenance company, like cleaning stores or something. Uh, just kind of whatever you needed to do to make ends meet while you were DJing, which is what you really wanted to do, but that just wasn't happening full time back then. So, what do you think? How we doing? Everybody got any questions? You got anything you want to say? Let me take a sip of the juice here. KGB is a great DJ. You guys should follow KGB if you're not following KGB. He's on a break right now with his Sunday shows, but one of my favorite shows on Twitch. What inspired me to be a DJ? Um, truthfully, Rick, it was never. It's never anything that I aspired to. It's something that I kind of fell into. We talked a little bit about this last week, so I'll kind of give you the Reader's Digest version. In 1969, my very first DJ gig, I was in Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts decided they wanted to do a dance. My sister's boyfriend had a loud stereo. I borrowed his stereo. I went down. I'm pretty sure we put some music on a reel-to-reel, and we played music, and people danced. And from that point, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." I really enjoyed it. Family is the most part right now. Yes, yes. Family is KGB's Sunday morning show, Easy Like Sunday Morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. On a little break right now because his family, the kids are doing lacrosse. So we miss him too. I'm kind of jumping back and forth here between you two. Yeah, Rick. I know some people see. When I started being a DJ, people that are older now, DJ is a real profession, and they see it and they go, "Oh, that's cool," But back when I started, there wasn't that. You had obviously your radio DJs, whatever, but DJs going around doing school dances or having things or whatever. That just didn't happen. You didn't have DJs in clubs. You had bands in clubs. So it was a different perspective back then. My parents, God rest their soul, rest in peace. Both of them have passed. They never, especially my dad, they never. How can I put this politely? They never they never really grabbed hold of my DJ career. They even I think probably it was probably 10 years, 12 years into my full-time DJ career, my dad might have stopped saying, "When are you going to get a real job?" Yeah, my parents never appreciated the fact that they never were supportive of the DJ career. You started my career, yeah, well, right, exactly. So the skating rink at our town, I mean, they probably played music. I remember going to the skating rink because you might have remembered going to the same skating rink, and they might have been playing music, but it wasn't anything that I was paying attention to. That I thought that might be something we wanted to do. They probably didn't even have a DJ. Actually, they probably just piped in music, and they didn't actually have a DJ. It's so amazing now because if you want to start out, or we can go back, even like say, go back 30 years. There are videos and books and all kinds of stuff if you want to be a DJ, and it's a career. It can actually be a career. People actually, you even go into the whole producing thing, and if you want to do that kind of thing, and EDM, and then of course, if you look at DJs on Twitch, I mean, how many up and coming DJs are on Twitch now because maybe they saw a DJ and all of a sudden it's like, oh my favorite example. Here we go. I'll give you an example. Most of you are, if you're on Twitch, you might know Mashup Mike. Right? Well, Mashup Mike was one of my if not the very first moderator that I had when I started streaming on Twitch, and he technical. He knows all that stuff, and I would give him remote access to my computer, and I'd have him set up my OBS. I'd have him set up all my stuff because I'm an idiot. I don't know how to do any of that stuff, and Mashup Mike would do all that stuff for me, and I remember asking him, Mike, do you want me to pay you or something? And that's all I used to play. I used to only play mashups when I started. And Mike was like, no, just send me some mashups. I think they're great. Well, I sent him like, I don't know, 20 or 30, 40 mashups just as, thank you for doing all this work for me. And he got, and then all of a sudden he decided that he was going to start playing mashups and he was going to go live. And he changed his name from his real name, which I don't want to use because I don't. If you don't know it, I don't want to out him. Exactly. And he took it and ran with it. Mashup Mike is great on Maui. He's a Maui guy. But blowing my own horn as I seem to like to do. Yes, he's helping you out so much right now. He got his start right here with Chuck the DJ. He wasn't streaming. He wasn't a DJ. He was just a technical wizard that liked listening to music, and that's how he got his start. And then I sent him mashups, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh my God!" And he's moved on too. He doesn't play mashups all the time. He still does play mashups, but but he's a wealth of information, and I know he's trying. Is he a partner? Has he made partner yet, KGB? So there's all that going on. So okay, so let's move on. Let's not waste any more time. What are we doing here? Oh, let's talk about let's see. Where are we at here? Let's talk about right here. Let's oops, hold it. Sorry. Someday I'm gonna get this down better. I really am. I am. Let's do this.
And now, another On This Date in Music moment. Trivia or history from Michael Walter's amazing book, Let's Learn Something.
If you don't have this book, and if you like trivia, you really need to do it. No, he's not partner yet. He's still working on it. Okay. This is a great book. My DJ buddy, Michael Walter, who is in New Jersey, I've known him for years and years and years. He's a multiple system owner, I don't even know how many DJs he's got working for him anymore, but just a great guy. He talks at conventions. I met him at a number of DJ conventions back in the day. And years ago, he started on Facebook. He started going, hey, look, on this date in music, XYZ happened, right? And somebody suggested to him, hey, why don't you put that stuff together and make a book? And so he did. And this right here, On This Date in Music, this is a great book. And you can see the edge right there, onthisdateinmusic.com. You can go and order this book. And I suggest that you do it. So what I start to do is I don't really read you the whole thing. Every day there's something, I call it a great bathroom book, because you can read it one a day. Today, in 1984, This Is Spinal Tap was released, the movie. And I'm assuming, or gosh darn, if you haven't seen the movie Spinal Tap, please get it. You'll bust up. And it's an amazing movie. When it's a parody, it's a parody. And what I'm going to do right now is we're gonna pop over here real quick, and I'm going to play just a little bit here.
Do you actually play all these, or? Well, I play them and I cherish them.
Of the females who own music, what was it?
Where'd all this come from?
So no, listen. How much? Just listen for a minute. The sustain. Listen to it.
I'm not hearing anything.
You would, though, if it were playing. Right. How much more black could this be? And the answer is none. Is that good? More black.
He died. He died in a bizarre gardening accident.
And I don't want this. I want large bread so that I can put this.
Right.
So then it's like this.
Yeah. And then there's a little jog there, about 30 feet. Jog to the left.
We don't have time for that.
Up the road.
11 and then
Amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
Is sexist.
Well, so what?
Yeah.
But what's
So anyway, so that's a couple scenes from Spinal Tap, and if you haven't seen it, it's about a fictitious band, and it's funny because when the movie came out, a lot of people didn't get it. They just thought that it was a real movie about a real band that nobody's ever heard of, and it has all the weird, wacky stuff that that can happen back in the music, and even as a DJ, you can relate to a lot of it. And the really cool thing about this movie is that it wasn't scripted. What they did was they made, look, this is what we do. This is a little scene that we want to do, and like 95% of the scene was ad-libbed, and so it's so funny. And guys like Robert Plant, Dee Snider, I'm looking at my notes here, Bono, The Edge, Tom Waits, Ozzy, Lars, Eddie Van Halen have all commented about how great this movie was, and that they play it on their tour buses, and they just endlessly laugh at it because they can relate to it so much. There's a part in there, and this is all in the book, by the way. And there's a part in there where their album Shark Sandwich was called Shit Sandwich. And so now in the music world, a lot of times, if somebody says, "Oh man, that was a shit sandwich," came from Spinal Tap. So if you get a chance, go order the book. You'll thank me later. I get nothing for it. I get nothing. I just love this book so much. This is why I do this. So. It's just a wonderful book that'll tell you all about all kinds of stuff. Is there anybody in the chat? I know we don't have too many people in the chat right now, but is there anybody in the chat who has seen the book? If you've seen the book, seen the movie, put a 1 in the chat just so I know if you've seen the movie or not. So you didn't know about Shit Sandwich? That's just and then of course it goes to 11. That's from the movie. In fact, I've got a shirt, but I don't have it on me. It is such a hilarious movie, and it makes me kind of want to watch again. Rob Reiner, who directed the movie, was known at that time mainly for his role as Meathead in the show All in the Family, which could never be made today, by the way. But he just did a wonderful job writing this movie, writing the scenes. He was supposed to be in the movie. He was supposed to be one of the players, but the word is, again, in the book, that he looked terrible in spandex. So they didn't have him in it because he looked terrible in spandex. And it is just such a hilarious movie. And I don't know. I can't say enough about the movie. Or the book. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. So we're chatting with Chuck. And like I say, I had a guy that I was going to interview, and he couldn't make it today, and I hope that he can make it next time. So what Rob Reiner in spandex? Yeah, stop for a second. If you know Rob Reiner, visual. Think about him in spandex. It's just hilarious. So anyway, my interview fell through today, and my first thought when I found that out was to just cancel the show. I'm not feeling well. I'm a little off today. Like I say, I'm not 100%. My interview canceled. I was just like, you know what? This is only the 3rd episode. It's not going to be a big deal if if it doesn't happen. But I decided to buck up. My wife and I went out to lunch with an old dear friend of hers, and I had some food, and I shot some heroin. No, I'm just kidding. And I'm having a good time. So what I'm going to do is I decided that I would just thank you, Tang. I appreciate that. Tang has been in all 3, which is to put up with 3 hours of me mouthing off is if there's a medal, lots of heroin. If there's a medal, Tang should get it because I think he's one of the few people that have been here for all 3 shows. My wife hasn't even been here for all 3 shows, but that's another story. No big deal. So I'm going to. I've got my notes here. I'm gonna. I got my notes that I was going to ask my interview. So I think I'm going to get ready to interview myself. Yeah.
It's time for the big interview. Chuck the DJ interviews people who make their mark in the world, who hold a special place in his heart, or he just thinks are cool. And now, here we go.
That's right. I hold a special place in my heart. I think I'm cool. Well, originally I was gonna. I'm the only one to admit it publicly. Yes, yeah, my wife has got stuff going on Tuesdays, and I might change the date. I might change the date, or maybe change the time, because my wife has a Zoom thing that she normally does. I think at 4:30 on Tuesdays, and so it's like right in the middle of Chat with Chuck. So who knows? We may move to a different date and time, but you never know. So anyway, okay. So of course I was going to start off the interview by asking him to tell us a little bit about himself, how he got his start, all that kind of stuff. But we kind of just went through that with me. So I'm not gonna ask myself about that. Conveniently scheduled, yes. We're off today till about it's normally 4:30 to 5:30. So yeah, that's normally her time for her Zoom meeting, and I could have planned this better, but I didn't. Okay, you want to start the interview? Let me start the interview. And feel free that during this interview, again, chat with Chuck. If you've got a question for Chuck, there you go. Since you're familiar with Petaluma, do you know Leo Laporte? Or his internet tech television network, Twit. Are you just curious? No, I do not. Leo Laporte? That name sort of kind of actually sounds familiar, but I might be thinking of something else. But no, I do not know. I do not know of that. And if it's a tech television network, chances are I've never watched it, because as I have said, I am the least techie person around. I know how to turn things on. I know how to do some basic stuff, but if there's a major problem with any of my DJ gear or even my stuff that I use for streaming, I have a couple. Jimbo Slice Chicago is my current tech advisor, and I just give them access to my computer. We were just in Petaluma today, and I let my techie guys do it, because if I try to do something tech wise, I'm going to screw it up. And that's just gonna make it worse, and we don't want that, and that's the truth. We don't want me screwing things up, making things worse. People don't like it when they have to come to your house, and I'm looking for a button here. I apologize. People don't want to come to your house and fix your problem. They will say, just no, because if I come to your house, if you've got a problem and you try to fix it, not only do I have to fix the original problem, but I got to fix whatever it is you tried to fix and the original problem. So it's twice as hard. So just call me first, and then we'll get to your problem, and it'll just make things a lot easier. Okay, so this is I'm only gonna do a couple questions here, because like I say, most of the questions I had we've kind of already covered all myself. So I was going to ask this gentleman, what was his weirdest moment DJing? Okay, so again, I've been a DJ for a long time, and I've had a lot of weird moments. I've done a lot of weird parties, but I think one of the weirdest parties, your IT in a nutshell, I should give you access to my computer, Tang. I'll keep that in mind. One of the weirdest parties I ever did was years ago. We got involved with a group in San Francisco, and it was a bondage club, right? Master slave, bondage discipline, and they asked me to DJ. I think I did a few dances. I think the first one was a Halloween dance, and if you've ever been around in the master slave, bondage discipline world, it is a wild and wacky world. There's a Gore series of books. You could read the Gore series. And I was at this party, and there was whips, and there was chains, and there was half-naked people running around getting tied up, and things done to parts of their bodies that I'm not even sure I can talk about on Twitch. and of course, no cameras were allowed. I didn't take any photos. And when the master of the house, when the party started and he brought his slave out, she was naked, and she had these little chains that went kind of back and forth, but didn't really hide anything. I was kind of like, okay. Yeah, the Backdrop Club. They were called the Backdrop Club. And I think I did, I want to say 3 parties. And I remember telling some of my buddies, my DJ buds, and they were like, dude, if you ever need a roadie, let me know. Hook me up, as it were. So that was probably my weirdest moment DJing. And if you are a DJ in the chat, and I think we only have a couple, but if you have a weird moment that you want to share with us, go ahead and type something in the chat whilst I'm talking. The other question I was going to ask this gentleman, his wife is great. His wife is just amazing, and they've been married for a long time. In fact, just about as long as my wife, because you're and I used to DJ swingers parties. Now, swingers or singles, two different things. Swingers or single parties. And swingers. Oh, okay. So was it swingers? Did they, how swingy were they? Were they Santa Clarita, which was wild? Were they swingers like let's quote unquote swing right here in front of everybody, or was it sweep will pull apart but not at the dance? Okay, and people swapping partners but not at the dance. Was there other rooms, or was it a thing where they would come to the party, they would meet, and they would plan? Oh well, hey, let's Tuesday night. Let's get together and swap. How swingy were they? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be somewhat PC here because this is going to go on my YouTube channel. So it was at a hotel and they had their own rooms. Okay, all right. I get that. Yeah. So that must have been exciting. So you were the DJ like in the main ballroom or main party room or whatever, and were they actually dancing? Was it actually a party, or was it more vibey? Where you were trying to create a vibe where they could kind of talk and get to know each other, and oh yeah, hey baby, let's go to the room. Or were they actually dancing and having a good time? I'm talking to Rick here for those of you that are going to be listening to this on your radio in your car as you're driving home. But and then KGB also said that he was DJed a swinger party at a house in Santa Clarita. Now, did you ever watch that show? What was the name of that show? The Santa Clarita Diet. Did you ever watch that show, KGB? It was a private residence with lots of bedrooms. They had a club where they would dance, and then various people would disappear. Okay. That would be fun. I've heard of guys that were doing nudist colonies that did nudist dance parties like that. They didn't have to be naked. So basically, not only the DJ, but everyone else was mixing it too. Yeah, we loved that show, the Santa Clarita Diet, and I'm trying to think of who it was with. That was a great show. Yes, this film. Oh, really? That's cool. Who was the actress in there that we? I'm drawing a blank. I am drawing a blank to the Santa Clarita. You can probably still catch it on Drew Barrymore. That's it. Good old Drew. You could probably still find it on, I don't know, Netflix or streaming or some formal thing like that. Okay. So anyway, that was the weirdest moment, and I appreciate you two sharing your weird moments. That's interesting that you both kind of had the same kind of weird moments. As a DJ, I mean, weird. The rules of the hotel and the host were that clothes stayed on. In the main body in the main party room, the clothes stayed on. If you wanted to go elsewhere and do your thing, that's where you could take off your clothes and stuff like that. But yeah, and then that might have even been a legal thing. Who knows? As far as I don't know. You probably just can't have naked people running around the hotel. I don't know. Was it by the airport in Oakland, Rick? Anyway, so weird. I also did some Halloween parties, at a private residence, anything goes. Well, that's probably that's probably true. I also did some Halloween parties that my very first agent booked me, that were just off the hook weird, because there was this I think you paid like $20, and it was an open bar and like a full bar, not just beer wine, but like a full bar, and people just got completely blitzed. What was that guy's name? Big John, Big Bob, something like that. It was great, and that was a fun party. That was a fun party too. That might have been pre-Kajura though. That might have been pre-wife. I'm not sure. Anyway, speaking of wives, so I was going to ask this gentleman, how did you meet your wife? So I'm going to ask myself, how did I meet my wife? How did I meet Kajura? This is a fun story. We actually dated. Kajura and I actually dated when we were in junior high school, and we dated for I don't know really how long. Probably wasn't very long. But then we went our own separate ways for 17 years, and she was a year younger than me. And her Clash reunion, her 15-year Clash reunion, called me up and asked me to DJ their Clash reunion. And I opened up my yearbook, and I was going through the yearbook, and I was like, who in that class is there that I want to see, that I want to make sure I see? And Kajura. And so I gave them a prize. I think I charged them like $300, and I will bring in everything I own. And back then, it was 20 feet of trussing and lights and lasers and smoke and bubbles and the whole 9 yards. And my light guy Jeff, my best friend since 5th grade, and Kajura, correct me if I'm wrong. So during the cocktail hour, and I wasn't even sure she was going to be there, but then during the cocktail hour, I walked around and I was like, I saw the name badges ahead of time, so I knew her name badge was there. So I walked around and I finally found her, and my recollection is that I walked up to her and said, I don't know if you remember me or not, but yada yada yada. She did. She hung out with us that night, and then the next Saturday, I think we had our first official date up at my buddy Jeff's property, and that was I guess I want to say 35 years ago now. We've been married 33 years and something like that. So that was a question I was going to ask him. How did you meet your wife? Because his wife is great too. So anyway, that's your case in the joint. I did. I was walking around. I remember walking around, the cocktail hour and trying to be nonchalant about looking at, because they always put their name tags right here, right? So you're walking around, you're looking at breasts. Is basically what you're doing. And I wanted to find DJ Ryan, 22. Welcome to my main mod, DJ Ryan. How you doing, Ryan? Glad you could make it for the last 8 minutes. So make sure everybody says hi to DJ Ryan, that you follow DJ Ryan, a great streamer of it in his own right. Does his shows on Tuesday nights. And Wednesday, he streams live from a club where he does country western line dancing. You can follow early on. You can learn how to line dance, and then you can dance along. So I appreciate Ryan being here so much, and I know he's working. Yes, I know. I cleaned that up, Ryan, because I know. Yes. So anyway, so that's how I met my wife, and we've been together ever since. And I think last year was our 33rd year being married. I call her my first Cheryl because that's what I do. Anyway, all right, okay. So where are we going? That was that. I got one more question that I got for this guy that I was going to ask him, and well, this is kind of. I normally end my interviews with the same two questions each time. What is your favorite band, or what is your favorite song? And for those of you that may or may not know, my favorite band probably of all times is the Tubes. And back in the day, the first time I think I saw the Tubes was probably in 74, 75, again with my first agent, Bob, really took me under his wing and did stuff. My world exploded with Agent Bob. But saw them at the Palace of Fine Arts Theater. They put a show on. Almost every single song was a skit, was a play, was something going on. It wasn't just, 5, 6 guys up there just, strumming along, playing the music, banging on the drums, whatever. They put a show on for every single song. And after that, every band that I ever saw paled in comparison, because I was like, yeah, your music's great. Chicago, yeah, your music's great. Elton John, yeah, Rod Stewart, yeah, you're great. Yeah, good, yeah. But give me a show. Give me She's the Beauty. Yes, that's their hit. That's their hit. White Punks on Dope was their first kind of mega hit, I guess. WPOD, White Punks on Dope. I was lucky enough to meet the band one time in Petaluma where they played the Mystic Theater, one Halloween show. My wife and I met them. But yeah, so favorite band of all time, The Tubes. So I think that's where that's as far as the interview with. Oh, Talk to You Later. I end a lot of shows, the streaming shows, with that song, Talk to You Later. Completion Backwards Principle album. So I think as far as the interview goes, that's all we're going to do on the interview aspect of it. Which again, I hope to have this guy in the show at some point in time, and we can get a little more delve into his personality, because he's a wacky DJ. He's a great DJ. A lot of fun. So hopefully he will be there. Oh, I did have one more question, and this is a blow your own home question. What famous people have you worked with? That's what I was going to ask him, because I know that. So a quick list of people that I've worked, not just that I've met, not like at a mixer or at a DJ convention, but some of the people that I've actually worked with or done sound for or done gigs with. A lot of these guys were on Maui. I'm just going to whip through them real quick. Tom Arnold, Mike Myers, Kristen Dunst, Trey Cool, Eddie Vedder, Zach Gordon, who's played guitar in Rancid. I did his wedding. Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins. I worked with them on Maui. Johnny Miller is a golf guy. I worked with him over at Silverado. Chevy Sabat over on Maui, and Jai Utah. A little bit more obscure guys if you're into the Middle Eastern world. I worked with both them. Mike McCready from Pearl Jam, the guitar player in Pearl Jam. I did his wedding over on Maui too. Anyway, that's just a few. That's that. That's the notes right there. That is the notes. Well, we have 4 minutes left. I had one more little baby segment I was going to do. And I'm going to do a short one. When I lived on Maui, I worked. I used to hang out at the radio station. No, I'm not going to do the Trey Cool story. You've heard that. I worked at a radio station. I would go down on Friday. My buddies Ed and Greg had a show on Maui every morning. The Ed and Greg show was their drive time show. I'd go in on Friday mornings, and I would hang out. I would hang out, and I would be like what I would call the color commentator. And one day the station manager came in. He goes, "You know what we need? We need a segment. We need a segment called What the Fuck with Chuck." He goes, "I want you to talk about stuff, and I want you to say fuck as many times as you can during your little blurb, and I'll get it. We'll record it here at the studio. I'll get it. I'll record it, and I'll bleep out the Chuck, or the we'll bleep out Chuck. That's what a Tina Baby would like. We'll bleep out the fuck, and we'll play it." And it was like every day at 8:40, 9:40 a.m. And so the segment was called What the Fuck with Chuck, or What the Beep with Chuck. And I did 40 of those while I was on Maui. And so what I'm going to do, and they ranged in length. When I started doing them, the first few were short, under a minute. As they went along, and I got more and more comfortable, and I think my last one was like 5 minutes long. This one I'm going to play you is, which one we're going to do? We're going to do the Golf Tourist. This is called Golf Tourist. It's 42 seconds long. Let's get to it.
What the f*** with Chuck number 2, the Golf Tourist. What the f***? I go out to play some golf and chill on the links. I get paired up with you and your bud from Chicago. It's January, and you tell me how cold it is when we start. Then you get all up about your tee shot. Then you get mad at the bunker like it was the sand's fault that you hit it there. You take your club and you slam it to the ground. Brah, you aren't that good to get that mad. You bitch about this and that. And I look at you and I think, what the f***? You could be back in freezing Chicago, freezing your balls off, and not even be able to be on the golf course. Get the back home. Do you have a what the moment? Send it to the Ed and Greg Show at gmail.com. And if we like it, and I'll read it on the air. What the with Chuck.
That's right. So that was that, and if you look at the poster for What the Fuck with Chuck, or Chat with Chuck when I post them, down the bottom corner there's a WTCF, What the Fuck with Chuck. So that was, and that was so fun. And I actually, the one I was going to play today, but I'm running out of time. The one that I was going to play today was one that actually caused a big stir, because it was about cops busting people for pot, but not ice, not crack. and we put that on the air, and it's almost 2 or 3 minutes long, and it caused quite the stir. So, but that's it. That's all we have time for today. So I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me. I want to thank my wife, of course, Kajira, for putting up with me. Alice, you're there. I don't know if you're lurking. Let's see. DJ Ryan, thank you for popping in. I'm looking at the chat here. Auntie Bonnie, you're lurking. Jaybird, my gosh, you're Jaybird. Rick, thank you so much. Tang, Muso, Patty, KGB, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here. Next week, next Tuesday, 4 p.m. I hope to see you here.
Thanks for listening to Chat with Chuck. Have something you want Chuck to riff about? Send him a whisper and get ready to be entertained. I'm Greg Murray. Thanks for listening.